Hello, and welcome to Your Health Matters. I'm your host, Dr. Peter Hogenkamp, and today I'm extremely excited about our program today because, as you know, we've been in this series of installments with a focus on healthy aging. And as I'm sure you recollect, we've talked about in the last 3 episodes the aspects of healthy aging. We talked about exercise, we talked about diet, we talked about all the engagements that you should be doing to exercise or to age well. Remember now, aging well is not just living long; it's living well. So to this end, I told you we were going to have a special guest this week, and this week we have Skip Rood with us. Skip is a friend of mine. He's also a patient, and the great thing about Skip is that Skip is the kind of person I want to be when I get to be, that age. Because Skip lives a wonderful life. Every time I talk to Skip, I want to spend time with him and do the things that he's doing. And so I thought, as I've said before, when you're a doctor, if you sit down and shut up and listen to your patients, they'll tell you everything you need to know. And so that's what Skip's going to do today. He's going to tell us how he's aged successfully. And we've been sitting here talking. We went to breakfast this morning, which we did not eat very healthy, by the way. But we thought, we make the one exception. But living well is a combination of not only living long, but living well. And it often involves having good genes, having good luck, and also making good choices. And that's what we want to focus on, because none of us can control our luck. We certainly can't control our genes, but we can make good choices in life. So Skip, thanks for coming to the program. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm delighted to be here.
That's wonderful. So, we've been talking about these good choices things, and you've been telling me about some of the choices that you've made in your life that kind of put you in this spot here in life. So you were just telling me about the best choice that you ever made.
Well, probably marrying Suzanne Langdon.
Yep.
Who was a wonderful human being, and we had a delightful, happy marriage, 3 children.
Right.
And she was a pretty smart girl.
Yeah.
Well, she was smart enough.
She made a better man out of me.
She made a much better man out of me
Yeah.
than I ever would have been, I think.
And that's one of the things I always tell people. I'm like, listen, who you hang around with, those people wash off on you. So hang around with people you want to.
Yes.
And unfortunately, your wife passed away.
She did in 1967 of a very...
2007.
I'm sorry, 2007,
Yeah.
A very pernicious cancer that took her.
Yeah.
After a 5-year battle. And
Right.
And even then, she was magnificent.
Right. And that was extremely hard, but here you are 16 years later, and you've kind of rolled with it.
Well, life goes on.
Life goes on, absolutely.
I think very good thoughts, positive thoughts about her,
And she's still with you in a lot of ways.
Oh yes, and with my daughters as well. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, one of the things I've always told people about aging is it's about attitude. You have to have a great attitude. Yeah. You can have all the money you want. You can have all the health you want, but if your attitude stinks, you're not going places.
Well, I have a lot of friends, and I stay very busy, and I go to Montana 3 or 4 times a year
to go
trout
fishing. Yeah,
I'm a bird hunter, a deer hunter, an outdoorsman, a bird watcher.
A bird watcher. You like to read?
I love to read, and so I stay. In fact, I love to tie flies. I sit down at my fly tying vise at least once every day, tie a couple of flies.
Really?
It's therapeutic. It just sort of puts me in a good frame of mind, I guess, and it's fun.
And it's handy because then you have the flies to fish with.
I have so many trout flies.
Do you always use your own trout flies?
Pretty much, and there are occasional exceptions, but I've been tying for so long. If I do say so myself, I'm reasonably good at
Reasonably.
it. Reasonably.
So you told me when you were out in Montana, you were fishing with a beetle. Did you tie that beetle?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Nice.
I have more trout flies than a small trout shop.
Really?
Oh, I have a lot of trout flies.
That's interesting.
Tens of thousands.
So one of the things I always talk about with healthy aging is to stay creative. And staying creative can be, a lot of things. I like to write. Some people paint, they sculpt. Tying flies is creative.
Yes, it is. And speaking of writing, I wrote an outdoor column for a chain of newspapers for 25 years.
You did? What was it called?
Skipping around.
That's hilarious. Really?
Really.
So, nowadays, with all the digital technology, these things all get saved. Did you have any of those columns at all?
Oh, I have them all.
Really?
Almost all of them. Almost all of them. I started in Poughkeepsie, New York. I wrote for a paper in Nashua, New Hampshire for a while, and then for the Essex County newspapers, which was a three town paper.
So it was like a hunting and fishing type thing? Or?
Yes, yeah, more outdoors, environmental stuff.
That's great.
But a little bit of hunting, more fishing and environment.
Yeah.
I had a few drums to beat. And
that's a great way to beat the drum.
It was a good way to get the message out.
Yeah.
And, I think I was pretty good at it. I was a president of the New England Outdoor Writers for several years.
You were?
I was.
That's tremendous.
And a member of the Outdoor Writers of America, and that and $10 will get you a seat at the auction, I guess.
It's probably cost you more than $10, to be honest with you. So, and you were telling me also that you also make your own decoys.
I make my own decoys. I'm basically copying the decoys that LL Bean sells.
Right, yeah.
They're magnums, and they draw the ducks, and I'm to the point now where shooting those poor ducks is not as much fun as it used to be. Killing at all. And
Right, yeah.
And I do a lot of bird hunting, as you know.
Yeah.
And every bird I shoot, I sort of look at it and say, how many more?
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I'm a big outdoorsman myself, and I focus a lot on the bird watching and the taking pictures kind of thing. To me, like the outdoors is being in the outdoors, and so let's talk about reading. You like to read. So what's your current book that you're reading?
I'm reading a book called The Three Frigates.
The Three Frigates.
It's about the Constellation, the Constitution, and I forget the name of the other one. That's another thing that happens when you get to be my age.
Well, I think and that's one of the reasons that you do all these things is that you keep your cognitive function as good as possible.
Yeah.
Skip, for 86 years old, your cognitive function is fantastic.
Well,
I've been enjoying listening to you for a couple hours, and that's this is how people want to be when they get older. Yeah. They want to be active. They want to be still cognitively intact, kind of thing. And those things don't happen by chance. It's because you do all the things that you do. All that writing that you did for 25 years. When you were talking about you had some drums to beat. I'm curious what kind of drums those were.
Well, mainly environmental.
Yeah.
The need to
preserve our environment.
To water pollution. Many of the great New England trout streams have been abused. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Connecticut River used to be the greatest salmon river the world's ever seen.
Is that right?
And it was wiped out by one selfish industrialist who built a dam at Holyoke.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm very active with a group called the Down East Salmon Federation, restoring salmon in many of the small Down East salmon rivers. And specifically at this point, the East Machias, which is a huge success, and I'm very pleased at that. And I send them a pretty sizable check every month.
Good.
To keep up the good work.
Yeah, one of the things I tell people about, getting older is to stay active and stuff because, I think you have so much to add things because, I'm 58 years old and I think every year that goes by, I'm adding perspective, I'm adding experience. I think I've got more to add every year. And someone who's had all the life experience that you've had, be active in things. We need your experience and your perspective.
Well, I think that's, at this point in my life, sort of payback,
Right.
giving back.
Giving back.
Giving back a little bit.
You've been lucky.
I have been
You lived a blessed life.
extraordinarily lucky.
Yeah.
More ways than you know.
Yeah. And so that's some of the ways you can give back is by being active in this committee to try to save this river. I think those things are fantastic, and it can be anything. I always tell people just participate in stuff. The only thing you don't want to do in life is be a spectator all the time.
Right. Stagnate.
Yeah. Spectation is stagnation.
Yes.
I'm not sure spectation is a word, but we're going to go with it. But you want to continue to evolve, and no matter what age you are. I was real close to my dad, and unfortunately, my father died many years ago. He died at 72. He was a great guy, and my father was a real intellectual guy. He loved to talk about things, and it got to be a point in his life he stopped, wanting to have those real deep intellectual talks. And I said, Dad, the day you stop learning, you might as well just die that day. And he thought about that for a while, and he kind of got back on the train because we can learn every day, and we can add to life every day, kind of thing. So tell me about some of the other aspects of your life that you feel like have really kind of helped you, get to be the person you are right now.
Well, church. We were very active in church. My wife was especially active, and we were Congregationalists.
Nice.
And that's the United Church of Christ.
Yeah, I talk about staying involved spiritually as an important part of aging, and being spiritual can be a lot of different things. Number one is going to church, and the great thing about church is, it's a social thing. Mm-hmm. It can be intellectual, but it's also, it's a spiritual thing, and I think it's so nice. Spirituality is nice because it connects us with other people, to our better self. Into the environment. And I always think that's an important part of people's lives.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I have probably my best fishing and hunting pal lives in northern New England. Mm-hmm. And he was the leader of the youth group when we were involved in a church in Poughkeepsie, New York.
Oh, is that right?
And I said to him one day, John, would you like to go fishing? And he said, well, I don't have any equipment. I said, well, I can take care of that. And we went fishing on the Beaverkill River in the Catskills.
Yeah.
And he got hooked.
Nice.
And we are best friends. In
Still,
fact,
to this day.
As we speak here, he's on the way to my house in Maine.
Oh, no, that
He'll
is
get
wonderful.
there before
Now, will you guys do any fishing up there?
And we'll go fishing, yeah, bass fishing. I do a lot of fishing in Maine. And
nice.
And love it. And I love fishing for smallmouth.
Yeah.
And I love Atlantic salmon fishing. I have a couple of friends that have belonged to clubs in New Brunswick, and so I get to go to New Brunswick salmon fishing every once in a while.
And for you younger people watching, this is a great example of what I call lifetime sports. I love people to get involved in lifetime sports. So you started fishing at a young age, and here you are, still very active in fishing. And I like the point is you had this guy you wanted to spend time with, and you said, hey, let's go fishing. And here this guy's fishing forever.
I remember riding my bicycle to fish the Shawshene River in Tewksbury. And in those days, the leaders were made of catgut. And catgut was very weak and brittle unless you moistened it. And the choices were to tie it on when you got to the river and
dip it in the stream.
Get it good and wet so that it regained its strength, I would take the leader all coiled up and put it in my mouth and ride to the Shawshene River with a catgut leader in my mouth. So when I got there, I could unfurl it, tie it on, and
You ready?
commence fishing immediately.
That's full commitment.
That is full commitment.
I like that.
It was great fun. I loved the trout fishing. My dad bought me a bamboo fly rod when I was about 12 or 13 years old, and I caught my first trout on a blue bottle, which is a little mayfly, on the Shawshene River at Nolan's Mill. And he was 15 inches long, and I was hooked for life.
Nice.
I'll never forget it, obviously.
Not obviously, yeah.
I remember it in great detail. My brother was there, and he was 4 years older than me, and he was just about as jealous as he could be, God rest him. He's long gone, but he was a good fisherman and a good guy.
Huh. So, you also have to have some good luck in this world, don't you?
Well, let me tell you.
I think about the number of episodes that I've been in or experiences I've been in where I just basically had some good luck, and I think back to some of my friends who just didn't have that luck kind of thing.
Yeah.
The problem is that you can't choose luck, or you can't create it. It just kind of has to happen to you. But you can make good choices, as we go back to. So you've made the choice to have a lot of friends in this world, and they're good to you, aren't they?
I have some wonderful friends. It's almost mind-boggling. I have lots and lots of great friends.
Well, friends is a two-way street, Skip.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
And I love them. I don't have any trouble telling my friends I love them.
Good.
And so I'm blessed. I lost a great friend who was a Marine colonel, and whom I miss. His son is a very dear friend of mine. Paul LaFawn was quite a guy.
What happened to him?
Well, he got old, and he was.
So he was a friend that was older than you.
He was a little older than me.
Yeah.
And,
But you were telling me earlier that you have a lot of friends who are younger than you.
I do indeed.
Yeah, and that's good.
It is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is good. Yeah. Most of my old friends are gone.
Yeah.
I'm outliving them all.
Yeah.
But
my mom, who's 94, she always talks about that the worst part of getting old is burying all of her bridge partners.
yeah, that's right. I've told a couple of my friends who abused themselves by smoking.
Yeah.
We talked about that at breakfast.
We did, yeah.
I said, I'm tired of burying my dear friends.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. So some of the good choices that you can make in life are, to not smoke, keep the drinking down, kind of thing. Stay active.
I'm a one drink a night guy.
What is that one drink? I'm curious.
And summer, it's gin and tonic. In the
I
winter,
knew I liked this guy.
And in the winter, it's a pretty good bourbon, Jefferson bourbon on the rocks.
Nice. Yeah. That's actually my choice too. I'm a Tanqueray. I love Tanqueray.
Tanqueray
So I
and
love a
tonic.
Tanqueray and tonic in the summer. In the winter, I drink bourbon.
Do you?
I probably can't afford the same kind of bourbon you can, though, Skip.
I knew there was something I liked about you.
I have to drink the kind of modestly good bourbon. Yeah. But tell me about diet. I'm curious. You've been a widower for 16 years, and so what do you do for eating?
I love to cook.
Nice.
I
So
do.
you cook for yourself.
I have my lady friend. I have a lovely lady friend by the name of Sarah, and she threw an 80th birthday party for me, and she loved my bean. I make baked beans,
Really?
and she loved my bean recipe so much she printed up a bunch of 3x5 cards and passed them out.
Really?
And now I have to confess before the world that my baked bean recipe, I was going through a very old Betty Crocker cookbook that my
Right.
mother has, or had, and it is the Betty Crocker recipe is in it, and it's my recipe verbatim. So it is not an original recipe.
Really?
But if you've got an old Betty Crocker cookbook, folks, there's a heck of a bean recipe in there.
What's the secret? Is it maple syrup or brown sugar?
Oh, there are some secrets. I put a little maple syrup in
Yeah.
it. Mine is 2 tablespoons of pickle juice. It doesn't, sweet pickle juice. It doesn't
Really?
call for it. And I don't know how much of an influence that has. But
Really?
But it makes me feel better. So I put in a couple of tablespoons of sweet pickle juice.
Right. But so when you're, on a day-to-day basis, you make your own meals kind of thing.
I make spaghetti, meatloaf.
Right. Skip, you weren't supposed to say spaghetti because I've been talking on the show many times about how spaghetti is bad for you. But I guess you can get away with it once in a while.
Well, I have a proclivity towards gout, so I have to be a little careful with red meat.
Yes.
And with drinking. So
Yeah, yeah. That's why you keep it down to the 1.
Yeah, that's why I keep
Yeah.
it to the 1. And I've been pretty lucky. My friend in Montana who has the ranch is a beef eater, and I really have to sort of insert my opinion into the menu selection. Or
Really? Otherwise
we
it's
have
beef every night. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm reasonably healthy at this point and very happy with my lot in life.
Yeah. So you try to stay away from processed foods. You're not just eating cereal or boxed foods every night.
No. I like to make bacon and eggs. Not so much bacon, ham more often. I like what they call, Howard Johnson's used to call it the ham quickie, with scrambled eggs with chopped pieces of ham in it. That's one of my favorite.
For those younger people, Howard Johnson's, we used to go to Howard Johnson's when I was a kid.
Yes.
But they died off shortly thereafter.
Yeah. How many flavors did they have?
23?
I don't know. I think it was 27. But anyway,
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, we used to go to Howard. I'll never forget it. We would go up to vacation, and my parents would rented this place up in the Adirondacks, on Big Moose Lake in the Central Adirondacks. You ever been to the Adirondacks?
Many times.
Great spot.
When we lived in New York, in Hyde Park, New York.
Yeah, you were telling me you were in Poughkeepsie, yeah.
With the Roosevelts and the
Yeah.
Vanderbilts.
And the Roods.
And the Roods.
Right. You don't often hear so much about the Roods. You hear about the Roosevelts, but the Vanderbilts, not about the Roods.
Yeah, we had a good time. All of our children were born in Hyde Park, in Poughkeepsie at the
I didn't know that.
Vassar Brothers Hospital. Jennifer was born the night of the Great Blackout.
Oh, wow.
And she and her mother were in the hospital during that blackout.
So,
But
where did you go in the Adirondacks at that point in time?
I can't remember exactly, although we spent a lot of time on the Ausable River. I did.
Yeah.
Because it was such good trout fishing.
Well, great fishery, yeah.
But we also went up there a couple of times and motored. My friend Ron Noble, who lives in California now, he had a square-ended canoe, and I had a Grumman sport boat, still do. And we took our kids and we motored up this chain of lakes and a couple of rivers and
was
camped out.
Was that the Fulton chain of lakes, by the way?
Could have been, yeah.
Yeah.
Could have been, and we had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
And we didn't catch many fish, but we had a wonderful time with the kids.
Yeah.
And they were young at that point. In fact, I'm not sure all of them were born. I think it was just Amy and Jen. And they were outdoor girls. One of my favorite stories is they went on a camping trip with their respective husbands out west. And they camped all over the West. And I said, "How did the guys do?" And Jen popped up. "They were useless." But my girls were campers.
They were
set up
camper.
the tent and did all the work and did all the cooking.
Right.
So, anyway.
Yeah. So, all righty. And so we've talked about a lot of different things. Tell me something. Do you have any things that you wish you had done over the years but didn't?
Not too many.
See, that's a wonderful thing to be able to say.
Not too many.
Here you are, and I'm asking you if you have any regrets, and you really, say, I haven't, because you've been doing these things. I always tell people, get off the couch, turn off your TV. Once Your Health Matters is done with, watch Your Health Matters. But once that show's over with, turn off the TV, go out and do something. Take a hike, go swimming. It's just, we have so many things to do in our area in the Northeast. but anywhere really. You just have to take advantage of those things. You have to have the kind of the attitude to go ahead and do it.
Well, and I like my company, myself.
Right, yeah.
So I don't have any problem.
But just going yourself and doing it.
Being active and going fishing and sort of getting away from the homestead.
Yeah.
Not that I need to. It's such a
lovely spot.
I love it.
Yeah.
I live on the ocean on a bay, and the birds are endless. I watch the ospreys, the mom and dad teaching the little ones
How to fish.
Yeah. And that's fun.
But I love that point, Skip, because as people get older, sometimes their life kind of shrinks. And they may not have, they'll lose family members. Sometimes they'll lose, friends. Oftentimes they're not working anymore, so their life is shrinking down. But that doesn't mean that they can't be active, because you can just go do stuff yourself.
Yep.
I love to do, again, I'm a very social guy, and I'm also blessed with a lot of friends. But I love to do stuff myself as well, and I'm not going to stay home ever just because I can't find someone else to do it with. I go out to dinner occasionally by myself. If I'm traveling by myself or at a conference and stuff like that, I'll go out. I'll go to a movie. I love to take hikes by myself, go fishing, because sometimes folks get in a situation where they really don't have people to do stuff with, but that doesn't mean you have to sit home.
One of my favorite things to do in Maine is to jump in the car and go looking for bird covers.
Nice.
And drive down some
lonely
dirt roads.
Yeah.
Find a spot. If it looks good, I get out with Tap. I have my dog with me.
Yeah.
And I'll run him around a little bit and get the lay of the land. And I have the Maine Delorme Atlas with me.
I love those Delorme atlases.
I mark the covers. And I have a Delorme that there's a couple of people in the world that would kill me to get their hands on it.
I believe it, yeah.
I have some really nice bird covers.
Yeah.
I have one bird cover we call the blueberry cover that is an all-day cover. It's got to be, I don't want to exaggerate, but it's 300 or 400 acre cover.
Nice.
All.
And just, is it
all
like
woodcock cover?
Paper land or paper company land? Or?
No, it's an abandoned blueberry barren.
You're kidding me.
Yeah, and they no longer raise blueberries, but in many places you're wading up halfway to your knees in blueberry bushes.
You must be, yeah, because they're still going to live.
But it's loaded with grouse and woodcock and deer.
Yeah.
And it's a fun spot.
Yeah.
And I turn Tap loose, and I tell people when I let them out of the car, I say, look now, I want you to have your shooting glasses on, you've got your hat, you've got your license, you got your shells, you got everything you need, because when I let that dog out of the back of the car, he's going to be on point in about 20 seconds.
Right, he's right after it, yeah.
And it happens every time.
Yeah.
Where we start, there's a great bird cover, and he's on point, no time flat.
Yeah.
And if you're not ready, tough luck.
Yeah.
So, and then there's a lot of shooting and a lot of missing going on.
And a lot of missing. That's okay though, because
that's okay. Yes.
So much of it is just getting out, being in the outdoors,
being with people you love.
Being with people, being with your dog, who's great companionship as well.
Yeah.
Well, Skip, I can't believe it, but our time is actually already at an end. I want to thank you again for coming with me today. It's been a pleasure to sit down and talk to you.
You're pretty special.
Yes, and I hope that we get a chance to do some fishing and hunting together.
I'm going to take you out bird hunting.
All right, well, I would love to do that. I'll probably miss every shot, but I'm going to tell you it was on purpose. And thanks to you for listening and watching again. It's been a lot of fun these last 4 months talking about healthy aging. I got a lot of nice compliments and a lot of nice questions on my website, which is Peter Hogenkamp Books. So please go, if you have any questions, comments, if you have an idea for a future show, let me know. But thanks again for tuning in, and thanks again to Skip Rude for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Very enjoyable. Cheers.